folks, this is what a brand new set of Tinman Fabrication subframe connectors look like installed on a vehicle. Look at the quality of the welds. I did a little bit of cleanup on some welds just to make it look a little prettier for after paint. I always like to try to make stuff look like it might have been installed on the vehicle at one time. Here's the other side. And this side will be easier to see the other half with. This is that modified corner where we did the dice right there and fill that in. Yes sir, holes all the way through. Good. It's all completely welded. Everything's welded that needs to be done. That is a completed job. So from here, what you can see what we've done so far is the underside of the car is almost all prepped for paint. That rear section around the gas tank and just behind the rear axle had a little bit of surface rust in it, and we weren't going to sandblast the whole car. It was really nice and solid, just had some surface rust, so we rider brushed it and got it cleaned up and washed down, and we brushed down a coat of chassis black Pour 15. That is an excellent product. Definitely needs to have some sort of rough finish to attach to, sandblasting, sanded, or rusty surface it sticks to very well. Does a great job of keeping that rust at bay. The rest of the car is virtually rust free though. One area that actually we did have just a small bit of rust was the front torsion, or the front support. One part that needed a little bit of attention was the front strut support. It was right underneath the battery, and the battery obviously had been leaking over the years, and it thinned out some sheet metal on that, so we decided just to take that out and replace it. Pretty inexpensive fix. The other side, as we come around, we also replaced the battery box, that inner fender well panel, the one piece fit. They fit pretty darn nice. It makes pretty good quality stuff. All these parts came from National Parts Depot. But otherwise this car is just a very rust-free car. Really nice to be able to work on stuff like this. One area we gave some attention to is the passenger side front torque box. On the 6-cylinder cars, they only had the torque box installed on the driver's side. The passenger side one was left off, sure for money savings or whatever it was. But as you can see, we bought an aftermarket component from National Parts Depot and installed that. It greatly increases the strength of the front sub. And you can see the better, another view from where the battery box area was replaced. The engine bay is going to get a little cleanup. The firewall, you can see this is a California car. I'm honestly not quite sure whether that's a stock heater box that you might see in Minnesota here, but we're going to remove all that. Later on, this thing is probably going to get a vintage air conditioning unit after we're done racing and stuff. But I'm going to cut that whole area out of the firewall and smooth that and fill some holes that aren't needed and just clean that area up a bit. Other things we'll be doing is some reinforcement to the shock towers. The lower area has a tendency to crack away where it attaches into the frame. It attaches into the frame down here in this area. So the next thing on our project We're going to finish the underside of the car, get that all painted. We'll get the engine bay all completely, the metal work done in the engine bay. We're going to get that all painted. It's all going to be just a chassis black color. We're not going to get carried away. We're not building a show car. We're building a car that's going to be very nice and yet do everything a person needs. Energy Suspension is also getting some of their products installed. We're going to put all polyurethane bushings and all the swing arms and the upper and lower control arms, sway bars, rear leaf springs. We'll be updating those, updating the rear end to an 8.8. We're going to go to a much bigger sway bar. Also going to, later on, we're going to do some other bigger upgrades. Going to put a power steering rack in here, get rid of that stock box, eliminate all our bump steer. Going to do the Shelby drop modification, and multiple other things.
Hope you come back soon and take a look at some of our other parts of the project.